The storylines are in abundance, and today's program should be one that when you're done watching it, you go, it wasn't that terrible. There's a lot of stuff happening around the NFL.
Oh, ton.
So we did not expect on this particular week 8 of the NFL season kickoff Thursday for every sports show to lead the program with Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy drama.
No.
Yeah.
Now, Jerry Jones stops by the flagship radio station down there in Dallas, and he says a lot. Jerry Jones, anytime he talks, he says a lot.
Wide open.
Yeah, it is a lot of things. He said something in the middle of an answer, though, that has sent the world into a little bit of a tizzy. And I honestly did not expect the response from the sports media people, so I must have heard his answer differently than other people. But here's Jerry Jones on the flagship station down in Dallas talking about, like, the problems with the team. This inevitably would lead to a lot of people even questioning McCarthy. Is Jerry Jones saying you're a big dumb whenever it comes to football? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Here's his answer, and then we'll talk about it after.
But the point is that we've, in my mind, we're not playing very good football right now at all. And it's beyond whether or not we have Derrick Henry or not. Derrick Henry is having a career year. I don't know if he'd be having that career year in our situation. And that's really something you really do have to look at, because if he had not had as many carries as our running backs have had, then he certainly probably wouldn't have attained the level of impact he's having. And then he's a real good complement to the type of offense they run. We don't run that type of offense at all.
You see?
Our situation is more about, frankly, it's more about holding your blocks.
What?
It's more about not making mistakes.
What?
It's more about, in my mind, the receivers running through a tough man-to-man coverage and running on through it.
Okay.
And, if you will, get away from that. The types of things that we all think we should be looking at is, well, we're designing bad plays, or we're designing bad concepts.
You should think about that.
The facts are that there's some of that, but there's also some of execution. There's some of the talent. I like our talent. I really do like our talent. I like our young talent. But young talent has a few more mistakes associated with it than if you are dealing with a veteran player. Although you've got to have young talent, as I've said.
You see. So in there he says, like, you naturally think, well, it must be the plays, must be the scheme. And then he says there's some of that, but everything else he basically, before and after, was about the players not making plays.
Yeah.
We need one-on-one with wide receivers, do this, we need to do this. I didn't hear him taking a shot at McCarthy other than him just cutting a promo about his Dallas Cowboys team and saying, like, you might think that, and sure, there's some of that. We all can agree that there's a bad player too. I didn't see or hear him burying Mike McCarthy there. Now, Mike McCarthy then was inevitably asked about it, and he said, I hear that, I got to go check it out, whatever the case is. But I think that one little clip about him saying questioning strategies or designs and things like that, I don't think it was an actual shot. Personally, it sounded like he was firing at a lot of other people. But, man, a lot of people heard that as a shot at McCarthy. Former coach, obviously in the NFL. Your owner gives that answer. And Mike McCarthy is dealing with something vastly different than everywhere else in the NFL. We talked about it being a zoo yesterday, the only training facility in the NFL that offers up tours, being 3 feet away from Dak Prescott. It makes $10 million.
That's right.
Okay, it makes $10 million. An extra 80 grand per team into the salary cap because of these training facility tours. And in the grand scheme of things, obviously that helps.
Sure.
You know, that certainly
Big
helps.
time.
The players around the NFL, 80 grand, that's a good number.
It is.
It's a good number.
A lot of money.
If you're just walking down the street and somebody say, hey, here's 80 grand, holy.
Serious?
But the salary cap getting bumped 80 grand, I don't 100-some million.
more than that.
I don't know how to. But anyways, it is helping. Did you hear that as a shot at McCarthy? And if you're Mike McCarthy, how do you kind of handle all of that, Coach?
I think he handled it beautifully because he's going to get asked, right? So if it's out there, I don't think it was. I think Jerry just rambling like he can ramble and talk about things, and he starts to go down one road and then he catches himself, then he goes down another one. It's, could it be scheme? Could it be players, young players, mistakes, this, that, and the other? So Mike handled it well. If I'm him, I just take it. Okay, my owner's being my owner, right? Jerry being Jerry. and you move on. There's so much going on. There's so much distraction. To your point, I mean, they're sitting there 3-3. They're coming off a bye. They need a win in the worst way. They're going, by the way, to San Francisco, right? Play the 49ers, who just got beat, right? And they need a win. So there's a lot going on, and it's the last thing that Mike wants to do is have to answer anything like that. So,
and I think Jerry, he goes on that show, I think twice a week is what I heard. He goes on there twice a week. That's basically the only time you really hear Jerry, other than those post-game press conferences where the microphones are
down his
on
throat.
his mouth.
Yeah.
On his mouth. That's old school there.
Oh, yeah.
That's old school. And walk in and then
don't want to misquote him.
It should tell him that, hey, technology is a little better.
Well, in that, there's some people utilizing technology. From the last scrum I saw, there's one phone. From the phone that I saw, you can see everybody else's phones. So you can do a little look around on these phones. Some of them are using a voice memo.
Yep.
Some of them are using that. Some of them are using another editing, I think, like an audio editing app in there. One guy I saw was on this side. He was holding it with his left hand, I think, kind of around Jerry like this. It was transcribing it immediately. The entire thing was just getting transcribed. Yeah, it was like voice to text, exactly is what it was. And he had that thing real close because if he does miss a couple, it'll start.
Yeah.
That one, the transcribing voice to text one, you get off 3 words, all of a sudden that sentence
done.
Screwed.
Vastly different. You're gonna have to go back. I thought that was genius, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, there is a good tag team partner there. Mike McCarthy goes from Green Bay to his basement every single day as a fired coach. He goes down to Dallas. He sees this entire zoo. Do you think he yearns for the days when he was a Green Bay Packer head coach, Tyler?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but I think we all talk about this. Exactly what you're getting into when you go to Dallas, and I don't think anyone could ever really say especially all these guys who have been in the NFL for so long. I don't think there's ever really a wow. You hear all this stuff about the Cowboys, but then it was so much different when I got there. He knew exactly what Jerry's like. Jerry owns the team. He can do whatever he wants. He has for the last 20 years. So maybe to a degree, but I mean, it's not Green Bay, although there's not as much of the media, craziness like there is in Dallas. The expectation to win, right there with the Cowboys, if not more so in Green Bay.
Got to know what's going to happen out there. All right, let's talk about a team that is winning and still making moves. Conman has a question for you.
Yeah, Lambo, how'd you feel about the D-Hop to the Chiefs trade? It feels like the Chiefs once again are going to go on a massive run and three-peat this Super Bowl bullshit that no one wants to see. But how'd you feel about the trade? And is that perfect for Patrick Mahomes in that offense?
Well, I think Kansas City knows who they are, and D-Hop's not going to make them an explosive offense or put them in the 30-point-a-game range. But what he's going to be able to do is convert third downs. He's got a huge catch radius, and he's got a really good eye-hand coordination. This team is all about their defense, right? Their defense is what's carrying them. Now, they've got to get Patrick Mahomes to stop turning the ball over. He knows it as well as anybody. But what I think D-Hop gives them is somebody who, if you play zone against him, he's going to get open. If you play man against him, he's going to be covered, but yet he's still going to make the catch. And he'll convert the sticks. He's not going to get over 11 yards a catch. It's not going to be needed. But Andy Reid has tailored this team. When Pacheco comes back, they're a run, control the clock, and win with their defense. And so it fits their personality, their identity. This identity happened last Christmas when they decided, you know what? We got to change. We got to stop thinking we're going to score 30 points a game. We're going to win with our defense. And they've continued that. So it fits where they are right now. It really does. It fits where they are right now. Look, Baltimore is a huge challenge. There's no question. But Baltimore's given up, so many points in the fourth quarter. I mean, this is an amazing thing about Baltimore. Baltimore's given up 84 points in the fourth quarter. They've only given up 96 in the other 3 quarters combined. So if they don't fix how they play pass defense late in the game, like you guys, like Chuck talked about, it's going to be problematic. Dean Peace will help them, there's no doubt. They need some experience on that staff because they lost so many good coaches. But they need to make a trade to maybe get another corner. They're going to need to do something to step up. But Baltimore, make no mistake about it, Baltimore, with Derrick Henry and the way Lamar's running the ball, the way that offense is going, they're going to be really a problem for everybody.
The AFC stacked at the top, not as deep as the NFC is what people are saying. Now let's pivot away from on-field play. Let's start talking about decision-makings that organizations are going to have to do. About 3 minutes to a hard out. Chuck Pagano, Paisano in a velour jumpsuit has a question for you.
Hey, Lambo, real quick, we were talking about job security with Daboll and the Giants. Who are some of the guys We're at the halfway point right now in the season, pretty much. Who are some of the guys? We had the usual suspects from last year. Ben Johnson from Detroit, Aaron Glenn from Detroit, maybe Slowick down at Houston. Is there some other guys that we need to put out there you have on your radar that could be candidates? Some of these openings that are going to happen?
I think those are all the guys that have done a good job offensively and defensively within the framework of the scheme. Certainly, I mean, look, Jeff Hafley's done a really good job up at Green Bay. He's been a head coach before. He certainly should move to a top of a lot of people's list because he brings head coaching experience into the situation.
Yeah, get him out of there.
Nope.
So I think to me that you want somebody. Look, I think you need. For me, if I were hiring, I want somebody who's been a head coach in some element before. Look, I think the colleges are fed up too. There should be some college coaches that want to try to get into the pro football as well because of all the NIL and all those things. But I think to me, look, I think you look for a guy that's had a really good turnaround with the team like Hafley's done there at Green Bay. They're playing much better defense. I think they've given up 31 first downs in the last 2 weeks. They're really good. This week was the first time they won a game where they didn't turn the ball over by their defense.
Okay, big news out of New Orleans. Alvin Kamara signs a extension with the Saints. There was a thought maybe that the Saints were going to move on from Kamara. Maybe he's getting shopped. Instead, staring down not a lot of cap room next year, they rework a deal to give him an extension, 2-year, $24.5 million. Congrats to Alvin Kamara and the New Orleans Saints extending their explosive relationship together. He's so good at football. Mm-hmm. He's so fast. That's why him getting traded was a real possibility in my eyes because there'd be a lot of teams that want him. Obviously, the Saints say nobody wants him as bad as we do. I like this, AJ. Good for them. What does their future look like with or without him? I'm not sure, but I like the fact that he got rewarded here.
Yeah, we know their future feels very bleak if you move on from Kamara. He has been a mainstay, and he does stuff that not many people in the league can do with how he can catch the ball out of the backfield and how he can make people miss. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't expect this to happen, but I'm glad that they did that, and I'm glad Kamara wants to be there.
Yeah, players getting paid at the building in the team that you perform well for, as opposed to just being great and getting traded out of town. Mm-hmm. It does set a little bit of a precedent. I think it is good for the organization as a whole. How's Coach feel down there, you think about it?
No, really good. They lost Shaheed, right, for the rest of the year. Yeah. Olave's been out with a concussion. He'll probably be back, so they don't have many weapons, so this is a good sign by them.
Do you think it makes any statements, like about the team, where they are, what they are, everything like that?
Yeah, we're not tanking.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's no – because they have that cap issue next year, right?
Yeah, like 70 mils.
Like in last year they had a cap issue.
Been really easy to move on. It gives those guys because they're a little bit older on defense, right? They've got some issues on the defensive side. So
yeah, maybe we are able to win.
Out.
Yeah, maybe there is a little bit of a good for Kamara, good for the Saints, good for Bryce Young. He's back in the lineup for the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. That announcement was made yesterday. Andy Dalton, obviously in protocol, I think, actually after a car crash with him and his family.
Sprained thumb.
Mm-hmm. Sprained thumb.
His
okay.
thumb, right? Yeah.
Sprained thumb after a car crash with his family, like that happened to Cam Newton when he was Carolina Panther quarterback as well. There's been other car crashes that have happened.
Yeah, Mark Andrews this year, I believe, in preseason got in a car accident.
And I think it's a nice reminder about humans as well, not just that football facility. Everyday life stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Every single day. Obviously, gets in a car crash. Happy his entire family's okay. That's good news. But this means Bryce Young back in the lineup. You think he learned anything from his time off? You think he has a new perspective? How do you feel about the Carolina Panthers putting Bryce Young in there, AJ?
I mean, they're forced to, obviously, because of the thumb situation. I would hope he has a little bit of, maybe a different view of what the offense looks like or a different view of what he is supposed to do. But we'll see. I guess we will see. If he comes out and lights it up, then we'll say, hey, look at that. If the guy's struggling, sit him down for 3, 4, 5 weeks and then bring him back in.
Their line still the same?
Yeah.
Did they get some new linemen in there yet?
No, I don't think so.
They're 1-6, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, I'd just, have fun, play free.
Pacers are on track to win 82 games.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, Olympic gold medalist, NBA All-Star, superstar, friend of 50 Cent, ladies and gentlemen, Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah, Tyrese.
Sup, Fifth? Sup, Fifth? That was so cool, dude.
They're saying I leaked the video. It was a personal message that I woke up to. You know what happens? Things happen.
Hold on. That was not supposed to be, because when I woke up in the morning, I saw Tyrese, I believe, your lady, and then her sisters or friends. I don't remember who everybody is in a video, and you're saying fifth, so cool.
Yeah.
You sounded so cool saying fifth, and then you said longtime support or friend or something like that. And the internet said, obviously, that this is one that's going to come back later in a story. I don't know if you saw that reaction or not. Can you clarify the situation of the fifth video in residency? Because we are all massive fifth fans.
Huge.
Yeah, 05 high school graduate. So you can find me in a club every single day before school, obviously senior year. That's big time. That's big time.
For sure. Well, Fifth's a good friend. We've become pretty close over the past couple of years, and got his Vegas residency. His team wanted friends and family to get him a little video. Sent the video probably later in the night than I probably should have.
Send a video.
Woke up in the morning, and there it was on social media. And I called Pip. I said, "What happened?" And he was like, "I just thought it was funny." So there it was, and there was no going back on it. It just, we had to embrace it.
You're friends with Fifth.
Hell yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
That's what I learned from the entire thing. That was my takeaway from watching it the first time. And then I opened the internet, and the internet's awesome. And I started going through, I'm like, all those things, I guess, could be the case. Good for you, Tyrese. You're a superstar, bub. Congrats on the Puma deal. Obviously, big Puma.
Yeah.
Big Puma.
Appreciate it.
How'd you feel in the Pumas last night? Everybody's saying you started a little slow, then you got hot late. Obviously, have a massive bucket and feel the boom.
Yeah.
You bring a boom.
Mm-hmm.
You brought the boom.
Bringing the boom for sure. Yeah, no, I felt good in the kicks. I just couldn't make no shots, but I think it's because I took a pregame nap, and we're just going to come up with any excuse we can for game one. So just going to move on from there.
Okay.
Get that one pound.
Shoes felt good. How's team feel? Can I be obnoxiously arrogant about the Pacers on air this year like I was last year?
For sure. I would hope so, because that's who you are when it comes to the Pacers, and we appreciate that. So let's keep that going.
All right. We're on track to win 82 this year, so.
Nice.
No big deal.
We are on pace. We are on pace.
Yeah, and that's what Pacers do, don't they? They keep the pace.
Yes, they do.
Go ahead. Randy, when you're pitching in the World Series, does it feel different? For instance, Adam Vinatieri.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, so Adam Vinatieri, when he's kicking, and I got a chance to work alongside of him, and you're talking about a guy who has the capability of locking in, and I forget the baseball movie, but it says like mechanism engaged. It's maybe
Clear the mechanism.
Clear the mechanism or whatever it is, where a pitcher has to lock in. Kickers have to do the same exact thing. But Vinny was able, in practice, to almost put himself in a mental space where it felt like a game. But even him, when we got to the biggest moments, there was a different level of like intensity and focus in those things. For you, World Series, big moment pitcher, what's going through your mind? What are you trying to control? What are you not trying to control?
Well, I'm just trying to control what I'm capable of controlling, which I've been doing all year long. And you got blinders on at that point. You're not letting outside interference come into play. And, at that point, it's you're running on fumes, I think, that year was 2001. I had 240, 250 innings during the regular season. And then I made like 6 or 7 postseason starts with multiple complete games during that. So, and then, I pitched 7 innings in game 6, and I come back and pitch an inning and a third in game 7. I was running on fumes, but it's an adrenaline rush as well, and you try to use that to your advantage. And I was able to do that, luckily, and we won.
So, what mentally, do you have like things you say to yourself before a game, or is it just focusing on each pitch? What was your mental breakdown?
Well, I mean, we come into the ballpark knowing that I'm going to be starting the game. If it was a regular season game, postseason is at a whole different level. I mean, it's that regular season game's not so much under a microscope, or you're not so much in a fishbowl. You have 34, 35 starts, and naturally you're not going to, not all of them are going to be quality starts. And so you just kind of learn from those ones and file them away. But in the postseason, you don't have an opportunity to, pitch poorly. That game is the game that needs to be won, or you need to keep your team with the possibility of winning. And that's the tough part, because the human error comes into play. You make a bad pitch, or it could even be a good pitch, and it could be hit for a home run, and the team doesn't survive. That's why the first inning, the second inning for a starting pitcher is critical. The quicker you can get in the flow of the game and throw strikes and get outs, the better. If you're putting base runners on and the opposing team is scoring 1 or 2 runs in the first inning, you're already behind the 8 ball because you don't even know if your offense is going to recover from that, because now you're facing their pitcher and their manager's going to manage accordingly. I'm winning the ball game. I'll take him out as soon as I see a sign of bad pitching.
Good to get started hot. Do you know if you're going to be pitching good in warm-ups? Like we asked this
no,
you do not.
There's been games where I thought I was lights out coming out of the bullpen, and I didn't last an inning.
Okay. It's gonna be a good night.
And then there's games where I couldn't throw a strike down in the bullpen, and I didn't know how this was going to go, and I pitched well. So, but you do want to be in the flow of the game, but there is an adjustment. When you're down in the bullpen, it's not always the same as when you get on the stadium mound. They try to replicate as well as they can at a home ballpark, but when you're pitching on a visiting ballpark, there might be, a big difference in the visiting bullpen to the stadium mound, so you're making adjustments, but you need to make those adjustments as quick as possible. I remember pitching a game it may have been 2000. I was pitching against Tom Glavine, and I gave up a solo home run in the first inning, and I ended up losing 1-0. And so that's what I'm saying. You gotta be locked in right away. And in the postseason, it's just magnified 10 times.
You're a dog, Randy. Absolute dog. Love hearing you chit-chat about your mentality. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How do you see the World Series going? Do you want to make a prediction or no? Do you do that?
Well, I mean, I just think the Dodgers, have the same offense as the Yankees, maybe even more so. And I think they have a little bit more pitching depth in the starting rotation and in their bullpen. And if it goes anything like it has, where their bullpen has been pretty solid for the most part, I don't want to get Yankee fans too riled up, but I would have to lean towards the Dodgers only because the first 2 games are in LA as well.
Okay, so Randy,
but a lot depends on Cole pitching tonight, and he's got to pitch well.
Okay, all right. So there are some things obviously that can change.
Oh yeah, no, Cole is their ace, and they have Flaherty pitching for the Dodgers, and so I like that matchup. And I'll take the Yankees tonight to win.
Oh, Randy, you're the man.
Sure.
I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Jonesy.
Yeah.
Takes good photos.
Oh, yeah.
You think you're hitting him? He'd be laying in a hospital bed. He doesn't need his legs. He's still throwing it 85.
Yeah, but at least that's my best shot. That's my best shot.
Yeah.